In this Lust for Drums Beginner Lesson 1, we will add a couple critical basic rudiments, the single stroke and eighth note fill, and begin working on limb independence, or some would say interdependence. With these additions and incorporating Lust, you'll be on your way to becoming a drummer. Welcome to Drum Lust and Lust for Drums Beginner Lesson 1. Last time in our intro overview, we covered placement to include body posture, drum positioning, stick balance, and strike zone. So if you are here without having reviewed the intro, you should watch that video first. The link is in the description below. We also briefly covered Lust, right? Okay, do you remember the acronym for Lust? Loose, upstroke, speed, and timing. Loose pivot, rebounding upstroke, smooth speed tempo, and that clock timing that separates the men from the boys or the women from the girls. Always maintaining Lust will keep you from developing bad habits that are difficult or impossible to break in the future. Again, welcome to Lust for Drummers Beginner Lesson 1, and be excited to learn your first drum lick. And at the end of this lesson, you can officially call yourself a drummer. That's right. A freaking people magnet rhythm-making bundle of Lust. Now, perhaps not a proficient or professional drummer, but a drummer nonetheless. Let's go. Timing. Your fellow musicians depend on you to be the clock, the tempo foundational glue that holds everything together. And you're in charge. The band anchors to you. So get good at timing. Rhythm has its benefits for sure. As a beginner, be sure to practice mostly with a metronome or click track. You can easily find this online with your computer or smartphone. I recommend 80 beats per minute. Applying Lust, with a loose pivot, bring your wrist upwards, and as your forearm drops slightly, pivot the wrist and strike the drum immediately, returning the wrist in a smooth motion to the start position. Do this once every 2 clicks to start, alternating hands, like this. This will be part A of this lesson 1. Do this until your tempo is in perfect sync with the metronome timing, and then feel free to add whatever toms you have with your kit. And if you are starting with only a practice pad, that's perfectly fine. In fact, it's preferred until you can master your timing and tempo. Now, limb independence and your first drum chop. Timeout here, let's chat. As I mentioned in the intro video, limb independence typically does not come natural, and for most this will be a bit frustrating for a while. It's likely going to look a little bit like this. That's normal, so do not get discouraged and do not think for a second that you need natural talent for drumming. Yes, there are those who have a natural ability towards rhythm and timing, and that may give them the opportunity to progress at a quicker pace, but virtually anyone can become a drummer. This basic drum beat we are about to cover could take a day, it could take a month, because your brain needs to rewire a bit to coordinate your limbs in a manner it's not accustomed to. But once it clicks, it's very cool, and you should be able to progress nicely from that point on. At this point, I want to introduce measures, beats, and time signature. Don't panic, we're not going to learn sheet music or theory. This is simply a tool for communication, okay? So for purposes of these lessons, we will use a basic 4/4 count. That means we count in repeating measures of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So keeping the metronome at 80 beats per minute, if we were to count 4 measures of each click, it counts like this. Each measure has 4 clicks, or beats, or notes. So again, we have 4 beats or notes to a measure. Count it with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because we have 4 beats in the measure, they are called quarter notes. Think of it like this. 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4. What happens if we play on the first and third beat of the measure? Those would be half notes, like this. 1, rest, 3, rest, 1, rest, 3, rest, 1, rest, 3, rest, 1, rest, 3, rest. Or the half notes could be on the second and fourth beat of the measure, like this. Rest, 2, rest, 4, rest, 2, rest, 4, rest, 2, rest, 4, rest, 2, rest, 4. And finally, for this lesson, what do you think an eighth note would be? An eighth note is 2 notes per beat, and we would count it like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 it looks like this. I'll play this on the hi-hat. And again, you can apply this to your practice pad as well. If this is your first exposure to measures and beats, it may seem a little complicated, so just review this part during the week. And now we're ready for the components of our very first drum beat. First, the kick drum, often referred to as the bass drum. We will get into different techniques for the kick drum pedal at the intermediate level, so as a bassist, it's best to start with your toes, with your heel up, and ideally putting most of the pressure on your big toe. This will give you more speed in the future as your chops develop. Now try to stay in time with your foot on beats 1 and 3. Again, these are half notes, and I want you to count out loud the 4 count as you play, like this. Kick, 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 kick. Do this on your own until it feels comfortable. All right, great job. Next, we will play all 4 quarter notes. Again, that's 4 beats per measure. Try it on the hi-hat this time. Play along with the click track. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Play these 4 beat quarter notes until you feel a level of confidence. Nice. Okay, now the fun begins. Now we'll combine those 2 components, the 1 and 3 on the kick drum and the hi-hat, like this. All right, for absolute beginners, it's likely your brain wanted to play all 4 beats along with the 4 beats of the hi-hat, right? Totally to be expected. Pause the video, try it again, and if you struggle, just try the hi-hat first and add the kick drum. You might have to come back here a couple hours from now as you struggle through this, or perhaps it will come quickly. Everyone's different, and the length of time it takes you to get this has no impact on your potential as a great drummer. Let me repeat that. The length of time it takes you to get this has no impact on how great you can become as a drummer. But it is important not to move on until you get this. Hey, you're back, sweet! Now the third and final component of your first drum groove, adding the snare drum on beats 2 and 4, like this. Okay, play along with me. Did you get it? If so, congratulations, you're a freaking drummer. If you did, let me know in the comments below. Or if it comes together during your practice time, drop me a comment so I can offer congrats. Most importantly, don't forget to add lust, loose pivot, upward rebound off the snare drum, smooth speed tempo, and timing. Who doesn't need a little lust in their life? So, with this Lust for Drums Beginner Lesson 1, we learned a lot. We learned measures, beats, notes, limb independence, and above all, your first drum beat. Now go have fun with it. Remember the rudiments, but have a blast thrashing around a bit. You've earned it. Have fun with it. Remember to stay balanced and come back to the rudiments. In Do You Have Drum Lust? Beginner Lesson 2, we'll learn your first two rudiments, single strokes and paradiddles, along with adding a drum fill to your basic drum beat. Have fun, be safe, and keep that drum lust.